biggest, or the best deal you guys have ever had?
Well, I sold a real human kidney for $120,000. It was on.
They bid on abandoned lockers, struck gold with hidden treasures, and became some of reality TV's most unlikely stars. But what really happened to the cast of Storage Wars once the cameras stopped rolling? From shocking scandals to unexpected comebacks, the truth about where these stars are now will surprise even the biggest fans of the show. When Storage Wars premiered in 2010, no one could have predicted it would become one of the most addictive reality shows on television. Each episode followed bidders, gambling on abandoned storage lockers, hoping to uncover valuables worth far more than what they paid. But what kept fans hooked weren't just the treasures, it was the cast. Barry Weiss, the eccentric collector, Brandy Pasante, and Jared Schultz, the fiery duo, Daryl Sheets, the gambler, and of course, the unforgettable auctioneers Dan and Laura Dotson. Their larger-than-life personalities turned ordinary storage auctions into must-see TV. But more than a decade later, the spotlight has shifted. Some of the stars are thriving in new ventures, others have faced hardships, and a few have faded from fame altogether. Today, we're opening the vault to reveal the untold truth about the Storage Wars cast, where they are now, and how their lives changed after the show. Brandy Pasante. Brandy Pasante started as half of the Young Guns duo with Jared Schultz. Their fiery banter, sharp instincts, and ability to turn dusty junk into big profits made them one of the most entertaining teams on Storage Wars. Fans loved seeing Brandy's quick wit and no-nonsense approach balance out Jared's more reckless bidding style. But life off-camera was far from perfect. After years together and raising 2 kids, Brandy and Jared split in 2018, leaving fans shocked. Many wondered if she would step away from the auction world altogether. Instead, Brandy proved she was more than capable of standing on her own. Since the split, she has built her identity as a solo bidder on newer seasons of Storage Wars while also growing her presence on social media. She shares glimpses of her life, from motherhood to personal passions, connecting with fans in a way she never could on TV. Brandy's resilience has made her one of the show's most admired figures. She's no longer just part of a duo, she's a powerhouse in her own right. But while Brandy was rising stronger, Jared's journey took a very different turn. Jared Schultz. Jared Schultz, once celebrated as Brandy's partner in crime, became known for his bold bidding style and risk-taking attitude. On screen, he was the gambler who wasn't afraid to go all in, often creating some of the show's most dramatic moments. But after the split, Jared's story spiraled downward. He tried his hand at running a bar, hoping to build a new identity outside the auction world. Yet instead of success, controversy followed. In 2021, Jared made headlines when he was arrested after a domestic incident involving Brandy. Though he denied the charges, the scandal damaged his reputation and overshadowed his career. Today, Jared keeps a low profile, appearing less often on the show and struggling to regain the popularity he once had. Where Brandy found independence and growth, Jared's story became a cautionary tale of how quickly fame can fade. And while the Young Guns chapter closed with heartbreak, another fan favorite was quietly preparing for a comeback. The one and only Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss, affectionately known as the Collector, wasn't like anyone else on Storage Wars. While the others were all about turning a profit, Barry was in it for the thrill of the hunt. He had a flair for the eccentric, bidding on lockers not for what they might be worth, but for the strange and unusual treasures they might hide. With his vintage cars, sharp sense of humor, and love for the bizarre, Barry became an instant fan favorite. After leaving the show in 2013, Barry stepped back from the spotlight. For years, fans wondered where he had gone. Then, in 2019, tragedy struck. Barry was involved in a near-fatal motorcycle accident that left him with serious injuries. His long road to recovery kept him out of the public eye, and for a while, many feared they would never see the charismatic collector again. But Barry wasn't finished. In 2021, he made a triumphant return to Storage Wars, proving that even after life-altering setbacks, he still had the same charm and eccentric energy that made him beloved. Fans welcomed him back with open arms, and his presence reminded everyone why he was so essential to the show's golden years. Barry's comeback was inspiring, but not everyone from the original cast had the same fortune. Daryl Sheets, the gambler, faced challenges of his own that nearly cost him everything. Daryl Sheets earned the nickname The Gambler for good reason. He wasn't afraid to drop thousands on a locker if he believed it might hold something valuable. Sometimes his bets paid off in a huge way, like when he discovered a locker filled with art valued in the hundreds of thousands. Other times, his boldness left him with losses that would crush a lesser bidder. But the biggest gamble Daryl faced wasn't on an auction floor. It was in life. In 2019, he suffered a massive heart attack that nearly claimed his life. Forced to undergo surgery and months of recovery, Daryl's health scare shook both him and his fans. For a man known for his toughness and boldness, suddenly finding himself vulnerable was a reality check. After recovering, Daryl scaled back his appearances on Storage Wars. He shifted his focus to family, health, and selective auction work rather than the constant grind of filming. He still connects with fans online, sharing updates and glimpses of his finds, but his life today is quieter and more measured. Daryl's story is a reminder that even the toughest gamblers eventually face the odds, and sometimes survival itself is the biggest win of all. But while Daryl slowed down, the power couple of Renee and Casey were only just hitting their stride. Renee and Casey. When Renee and Casey joined Storage Wars, they quickly made their mark. With Renee's bold bidding style, sharp eye for value, and thick German accent paired with Casey's level-headed approach and business savvy, they became one of the most entertaining couples on the show. Unlike some cast members who leaned heavily on television fame, Renee and Casey focused on building a real, lasting business. Their San Diego thrift store, Bargain Hunters, became their empire. Packed wall-to-wall with everything from vintage collectibles to everyday bargains, the shop grew into a destination for fans who wanted to see the duo in action. But they didn't stop there. The Nejodas embraced the digital age, building a thriving presence on YouTube where they showcase their auction adventures, store hauls, and behind-the-scenes realities of running a resale business. Their honesty, showing both the wins and the failures, made them relatable and earned them a loyal fan base outside of TV. Financially, they've thrived. While others struggled after Storage Wars, Renee and Casey turned their fame into something sustainable, proving that the smartest gamble is investing in yourself. Yet, while Renee and Casey found success, another fan favorite was making his mark in a very different way. Ivy Calvin, the king of Palmdale. Ivy Calvin brought a different kind of energy to Storage Wars. A former MMA fighter, he approached auctions with the same toughness and focus he once used in the ring. Nicknamed the King of Palmdale, Ivy was known for his competitive nature and his ability to sniff out valuable items in even the dustiest lockers. After his time on the show, Ivy doubled down on his business, Grandma's Attic, in Palmdale, California. The store became a community staple, stocked with everything from quirky collectibles to everyday essentials. Fans visiting the area often stopped by just to catch a glimpse of the king himself. Ivy also built his legacy through family. His sons often joined him at auctions and in the shop, learning the ropes and carrying on the business. For viewers, this side of Ivy was heartwarming. He wasn't just building wealth, he was building a legacy. Today, Ivy continues to run his business, stay active in auctions, and interact with fans online. While he may not dominate TV screens the way he once did, he's proof that the Storage Wars dream didn't end when the cameras stopped rolling. But while Ivy built a stable kingdom, tragedy struck another member of the Storage Wars family, Mark Balelo, whose story ended in heartbreak. Mark Balelo. Mark Balelo, known as Rico Suave, entered Storage Wars with big energy, flashy style, and a taste for dramatic bids. Fans either loved or hated his flamboyance, but no one could deny he added spice to the auctions. He often showed up in sharp suits, expensive cars, and carried himself like a man who wanted the world to know he was winning. But behind the flash, Mark struggled with personal demons. In 2013, fans were stunned by the news of his sudden passing. Found dead in his car from carbon monoxide poisoning, his death was ruled a suicide, just days after being arrested on drug-related charges. The tragedy hit the Storage Wars family hard. Fellow cast members paid tribute, and fans reflected on how little they really knew about the struggles behind his confident, on-screen persona. For many, Mark's death was a sobering reminder that reality TV fame can hide very real pain. Even today, his story is remembered as one of the darkest chapters in Storage Wars history. A life of highs and lows that ended far too soon. And while Mark's tale was heartbreaking, another cast member's story took a different turn. Dave Hester, the infamous villain of the show, who managed to find his way back after controversy nearly ended his career. Dave Hester. Dave Hester's booming "yup" became one of the most recognizable catchphrases on Storage Wars. He played the role of the villain perfectly, aggressive, confrontational, and willing to push his rivals to their breaking points. Fans loved to hate him, and his presence created some of the most dramatic moments in the show's run. But off-screen, things weren't as entertaining. In 2012, Dave was fired after accusing the producers of staging parts of the show. He took legal action against A&E, sparking a high-profile lawsuit that revealed behind-the-scenes tensions. For a time, it looked like Dave's reality TV career was finished. Surprisingly, he returned to the series in later seasons. Though his reputation as a troublemaker stuck, he also proved resilient. Outside of TV, Dave stayed active in the auction world, running his own business and attending events. Today, Hester is quieter, but he remains a part of the storage auction scene. Love him or hate him, he survived where others faded. And his story stands as proof that sometimes the villain is the one who lasts the longest. From Brandy Pasante's rise as a solo powerhouse to Jared Schultz's struggles, from Barry Weiss's comeback to Daryl Sheets' health scare, the stories of the Storage Wars cast remind us that reality TV is only a glimpse into real lives filled with triumphs and hardships. Renee and Casey built an empire. Ivy Calvin carried his crown as the King of Palmdale. Mark Balelo's tragic passing showed the pain fame can't hide. Dave Hester survived scandal to remain part of the game. And through it all, Dan and Laura Dotson never stopped calling the auctions that made it all possible. The cast of Storage Wars may no longer dominate our TV screens the way they once did, but their impact is undeniable. They turned dusty storage lockers into global entertainment, and their larger-than-life personalities transformed everyday auctions into unforgettable television. So, where are they now? Some are thriving, some are healing, and some are forever remembered. But together, they remain a fascinating part of reality TV history. Proof that even in the most unlikely places, stories worth telling are always waiting to be discovered. What do you think? Whose journey surprised you the most? Brandy's solo success, Barry's second act, or Dave Hester's survival? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories of the stars you thought you knew. Because in the end, Storage Wars wasn't just about lockers, it was about the people who dared to open them.